Welcome to From White Collar to Blue Collar. My name is Phil. I will be the host, the podcaster. The purpose of this podcast is to relate my story about transitioning from white collar work to blue collar work. And I hope by doing so to give some advice to people who are planning to do the same thing or who have started to do the same thing. So, first, a little background about that for me. I worked in the insurance business for 8 years, from the spring of 2005 to the spring of 2013. So I had 8 years full-time working in different aspects of the insurance business. I only worked behind the desk in a cubicle. It was mostly low-level clerical work, not any kind of skilled position. And probably some of the tasks that I did are now obsolete or outsourced to other countries. But I was solidly a white-collar worker at that time. And then starting in 2013, I switched full-time to a career in mostly furniture repair and restoration. And that's what I've done ever since. And I think the target audience that I want for this podcast is somebody who is like me, who maybe went to college or didn't go to college, kind of not really sure what direction they want to go in with their career, but career is important to them. In other words, I don't think this podcast is for people who don't really care too much about what they do for a living, in that their career is more about supporting themselves or getting by or being rich. This is more for people who, I think, generally, if you're transitioning from white collar to blue collar, you are looking for some kind of fulfillment from your job. I would say it's generally not, people don't generally do that if they're looking to make more money or to have a more comfortable life. In some cases, I'm sure that is the case, but probably not. So, also, there are going to be some people who I think are going to have an easier time with it. Let's say if you're already an engineer or somebody who grew up in a family in the trades, you have some kind of familiarity with it, you're just very well coordinated, you're just very sharp with doing manual labor. I don't think you're really the target audience for this podcast. This is more for people who don't really have any experience with tools, with working outside, with physical labor, with anything really from just a basic office job. You may even be a person who doesn't feel they have a lot of common sense because you haven't had to use common sense a lot in your life. So this is more for somebody who is seeking, really needs some assistance, needs some help getting involved in a job which deals a lot with practical skills, which deals a lot with skills that they may not have been acquainted with. Okay, sorry, I had a phone call right there. Okay, so that, I think I've gotten down what I am planning on talking about, giving advice and relating stories from my past making this transition, and I want to help people and give advice. And yes, I'm looking to possibly promote a book where I talked about my transition and who this is designed for, because